Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
That's right. So, unfortunately, we are a day late. I know you guys are just distraught to hear it, but we're back.
And we're shooting kind of late in the day.
Yeah, very late. But, I mean, you guys will still see it at the same time of day, so it's technically not too big of a deal. But, yeah, we are still going to talk about a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. And there's a few Yu-Gi-Oh things.
And some things we missed.
Yeah, and some things we missed, actually, from the past week. But before we get into all of that, one's in chat if you're watching the live premiere on YouTube.
Y'all know,
and also a review. This one comes to us from Coney on Apple Podcasts. They say, love this podcast. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Casually since Toss format, and a few months ago I got more competitive. I love that you guys cover a broad range of TCG content that normally with my Yu-Gi-Oh! Centered YouTube feed I don't get exposed to. In closing, great pod.
I do think Toss format's a good time to have gotten into Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't have too much of the baggage of old Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's like the Link format is coming into its own.
Yeah, you're really getting to experience what I would say was probably like peak Master Rule 4 before like the revision. Would you guys agree with that? Like Toss like is peak kind of Master Rule 4?
That might be a hot take, I wonder. I
don't think it is.
You might get cooked in these comments, Paul. I mean, look,
I
love Toss format. That was the last format I actually properly played this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's probably the truth. Anyways, okay, so Yu-Gi-Oh stuff.
Yes.
Something that we missed last week in the podcast, as a lot of you guys reminded us, is that they announced this year's new tins. These are the 25th, because we're still on that, anniversary 10 dueling mirrors. So when I first heard about this, I'm not going to lie, I was like, what the hell? Mirrors?
What does that mean?
But then I understood that it actually is about pride and unity, which might sound familiar to you if you keep up with the OCG products.
And if you follow us here on this channel, you should be familiar with pride and unity.
Yeah, so these are actually sort of two OCG products that they've done. But here, let's read what Konami's blurb has to say about it. Celebrate 25 years of dueling. We've been doing that for the last year and a half now. With the 25th anniversary 10 dueling mirrors featuring sought-after and brand-new art versions of some of dueling's most famous cards. So it's got this picture of Kaiba and Yugi. It's the same picture that they use for a lot of the 25th anniversary promotional material.
I've seen it many times.
Mirrored back-to-back, Yami, Yugi, and Seto Kaiba stand like giants over a series of iconic monsters from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime series. While they're the world's greatest duelists, Yugi and Kaiba have always been mirrors of each other, Yugi relying on the unity of his team and the power of friendship, Kaiba taking pride in his own nearly unmatched skills.
I can believe that.
So, pride and unity. We've actually got
we have the OCG pride set here.
Yeah, just recently came out. We'll be opening this soon, actually, on APS Amplifier.
We previously opened up Side Unity as well.
So, they're going to be taking some inspiration from those because, as always, each tin will contain 3 mega packs, each with multiple rarities guaranteed. This year's tin does away with some of the lower rarity slots to give everybody more of the higher rarity that people are looking for, including a quarter-century secret rare in each of the 3 packs.
Okay, so more quarter centuries than ever.
Yeah.
Because you guys know I love that rarity.
The quarter does not ever end. Take pride in your pulls since we've united them together into the higher rarities.
This year's supposed to be a play on words?
It was, yeah.
Well, okay,
you take pride in your pulls.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. This year's best of 10s pulled together popular and sought after cards from a dozen recent booster sets. A dozen. That sounds like a lot.
That is a
including,
lot.
I wonder if they actually mean like 12. Including Power of the Elements. Wait, Power of the
Elements?
That was at the end of 2022.
What?
It's been a while.
That was before the quarter century celebration.
Yeah. Photon Hypernova, Cyberstorm Access, Duelist Nexus, Age of Overlord, Maze of Memories, not Maze of Millennia, Amazing Defenders, Wild Survivors, and more. So a lot of packs being represented here, plus brand new art versions of some of dueling's most famous cards from Red Eyes, Black Dragon, and Dark Magician Girl. So they're getting new arts. I think I saw those arts in the OCG.
I remember when they got announced, I saw them.
Yeah, to Harpy's Feather Duster and Raigeki. So I think that we know what those will be. That's the Raigeki, like, with Slifer the Sky Dragon. And the Harpy's Feather Duster, where it's like the Harpy lady and she's got the duster.
Now this is interesting to me because we opened up the Unity set, remember, Paul? And I remember telling you there was a Chase Dark Magician Girl artwork in that set.
That's probably the one that we're getting.
And that's crazy because we're gonna get that as a promo.
Well, not a promo. It's just gonna be a card in the set. These tins don't have promos anymore.
It's interesting because that card goes for like quite a bit in Japan. And we're gonna get it in a tin
rather cheaply.
It's gonna be worth nothing.
Well, maybe they might make it like kind of hard to get, where there's still some perceived.
You think they might make it like a kind of a chase,
short, printy-ish? Okay, could be. I think that'd be fine because like it's not like a tournament card; it's just a collector's thing.
I do think it'd be nice if tins actually had some type of a chase card, because like,
well, they don't have that, but I'll tell you what they do have. With 400 cards in the set. 400. This tin doesn't just have something for everyone. It's got a whole lot of somethings.
What does that mean?
A lot of somethings.
Is that really what it says?
Yeah, it says this tin doesn't just have something for everyone. It's got a whole lot of somethings. Meanwhile, the 50 quarter-century secret rare cards in the set, the 50, are a trip down memory lane showcasing iconic monsters and imagery from decades of dueling. In addition to the 16 cards shown on the sides of the tins, which we don't have an image of the tins yet, at least not that I've seen. More about those later. There were just too many famous moments to pass up, so we added 34 more cards to the quarter-century secret rare pool, and you'll get 3 in every tin.
Okay, all right. Hear me out. You gotta hear me out.
That's what the podcast is for.
Did they not learn their lesson with the last tin? They gave us those quarter-century promos, and if you look those up on TCG Player, like none of them have any value befitting the rarity. I
don't think any of them are even like worth a. Maybe one's worth. Like the Stardust is worth like $2 or $3.
Yeah, there's like one it's worth like $1, but the rest, oh my gosh.
Well, listen, you won't have to worry because there will be so many.
We don't need more filler, Konami. Jeez.
Okay, so I have 2 thoughts on these tins. First of all, I'm really not sure what these tins are going to like be, since Rarity Collection 2 now is happening. That's releasing next month, by the way. Pretty exciting. But it's like, man, with Rarity Collection, I just wonder where the value in these tins is going to come from. Now, I suppose that the tins are just meant to literally reprint all the archetypes from the past like year and a half now.
That's what the last one did.
And that's not such a bad thing.
All the way from Power of the Elements.
Yeah, I know. Now, I don't even know. There's so many things to say about this. So there are 400 cards in this set. That is a lot.
That is huge.
I don't know how many of the past tins were. I know there were in 400 cards.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, check out how many were in like last year's
2023 Mega
2023 like Dueling Heroes 10. Check out how many cards were in the set. Because I feel like 400 is like got to be breaking a record in terms of set size.
I agree.
And the issue that I have with that is that I feel like it's going to turn these tins into like, the tins have had this problem for a while now, but like where you buy a tin and you're just going to get like a bunch of disparate cards with like so little ability to focus in on any one thing. It's just going to be like a mixture of hodgepodge archetypes, random reprints of old anime stuff. Like,
opening tins are such a nightmare.
I mean, so maybe we're being a little bit too, downy on it, right? Like this, in a sense, it could be pretty exciting.
All right, Paul, you ready?
How many were in the last year's tins?
283.
Last year's tins had 283 cards. This year's tins have 400. Sheesh.
And I guess is the difference just the quarter-century rares?
Well, no, I mean, there's only 50 of those, so that's still, we got to account for like another 67 or so cards. Yeah, I just think it's a lot of cards to have in a set. I think it's going to be hard to like open a tin and get what you want.
But I think most people don't even open up many tins. Just from like what I've seen around our shop and other places, people tend to open up at best 3 tins.
Yeah.
And then you just buy singles.
Yeah. It's kind of a shame, too. It sounds like they've just kind of axed the promos again. Now, I know last year the promos were, like, not super popular. I mean, it was protagonist ace monsters, and they were QCR, and they aren't worth anything, like we said. But I really do wish with these tins we could get back to, like, some really good value promos. Like, I want those days of, like, Nibiru, Dark Ruler No More, Dimension Shifter, like, kind of meta-influential cards that make it where if you buy this tin, even if you get nothing else great, you'll at least get that.
I think Konami has decidedly gone in a different direction with that. If I had to guess, this is my guess. Mm-hmm. While those cards were very impactful for core Yu-Gi-Oh players, they do not have the mass appeal on the shelf as a picture of Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl.
Yeah, I suppose not. But I mean, if that's the case, then even those could be the promos, for Christ's sake. I mean, there's no promos in here. Like, it could be the promo Dark Magician Girl or Red Eyes artwork, you know? Like,
I mean, I guess that's true. But maybe that's going to be on the tin, you know, on the sides and stuff to, like, advertise.
Yeah, they said they're going to have a bunch of monsters on the tins.
That's going to be crazy. Someone's going to see that Raigeki with Saffron and be like, "Ooh, I want that." Then they pull, well, what's a cool archetype from Power of the Elements?
Yeah, Power of the... I mean, it was iconic. It had Sprite. Sprite and Tear Element were introduced there. I mean... They had to reprint that set, actually. It's one of the few sets that's gotten an unlimited edition printing in recent years. So, I mean, I guess this is a way to reprint Sprites, because Sprites never really got, like, formal reprints. So that would be good.
If I'm trying to pull Dark Magician Girl and I pull Sprites, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mixture of a product. Now, I guess I'll hold out my full judgment on this product. It comes out on September 20th. So we've got a long ways to go.
We do have a ways till then.
Maybe, you know... It'll turn things around. Like, I really wish they'd bring back promos. That's all I have to say about these tins. I think it's too many cards in here to not have, like, some decent guaranteed promos to, like, anchor your experience.
What's so interesting to me about these tins, they come out in September, right? Mm-hmm. That means we're going to be in a, like, it's going to be post-Nats, post-Worlds? No, Worlds wouldn't have happened yet.
Yeah, no, Worlds would have.
Okay.
It's early September this year.
Post-Nats, post-Worlds, post-Snake Eyes. What's that gonna... I wonder what that's gonna feel like.
Yeah, that's gonna be a different world.
Like, maybe the tins will be exactly what we need. I don't know.
Where will the world be in September, you know?
Because I know... I don't have a story about this, but it feels like we're in a really weird spot in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now.
That sounds like any given day. But
I mean, but, like, almost especially so because, you know, Snake Eyes are out. Snake Eyes Fire King, Snake Eyes Pure. They run the format, and you know we're going into like regionals. YCS is looking at national season. When and how is Konami going to like roll out a ban list?
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, we were saying this last week, but there just are not a lot of indications that Konami's going to be releasing a ban. I mean. I guess I say that there are just as many indications as there always will be.
Yeah, there are none.
So
like, it feels weird though, because
it's got to be soon, right?
Because like I felt like had we gotten a ban list like 3 weeks ago, like a slap on the wrist kind of ban list for Snake Eye, then I could see another ban list like popping up, like before Nats or something.
Probably right after or before. I don't know.
But right after would probably be better.
Yeah.
But now it's like, are we gonna try and like sneak a ban list in, like when people have like invested in that deck and now they're getting ready for nationals?
Don't know. I don't really know what Konami's plan with the ban list is. All I know is that people are certainly losing their patience with it. That seems to be happening. I mean, I've seen a lot of people really quite at their wits' end on Twitter.
I mean, I feel like people like
always are like this.
They're always like this.
The ban list will drop and they'll suddenly forget all of their anger as it dissipates when they now get to judge the ban list instead of complain about the lack of one.
Like, but I just think Konami better not drop a very impactful ban list. Because I feel like people are starting to buy back up their Snake Eye cores.
I'm not sure. I mean, I think that people want an impactful one. They've convinced themselves this won't be a super impactful one. So now I don't know what the right call would be. Like, if you're Konami, I mean, everybody's kind of assuming like it'll be like a slap on the wrist for Snake Eye because it's still new. But I guess as the weeks pass, Snake Eye feels like it's not as new. And so maybe that's more reason for Konami to not be too like soft on the hits. But I don't know. I mean,
it'll be crazy to hit the deck right before Nats go off, and everyone's just like scrambling to get like Voiceless Voice and like what else is there? Branded.
Voiceless
you get that
Voice,
together.
Branded, yeah.
Labyrinth, right?
I mean, it would probably pop back up.
Yeah, they'll probably.
I assume.
People just will have to figure it out. Or maybe there just won't be a ban list at all.
Yeah, you can never tell with Konami. That's the fun part. I mean, I think it's also interesting because, like, while people are, like I said, like, people are impatient for it now, but the moment the list comes out, like, all that impatience will dissipate because now it's like, we have a ban list to talk about. And so it's kind of a weird thing where, like, I guess what I'm really saying is that people should actually probably hold on to that anger a little bit more because it's crazy that we just play this game where we just don't know, like, what the heck is going on, like when Banlist will come out, and Konami just won't tell anyone.
Like, I mean, any other, if you compare TCGs to live service games, and almost every other live service game, patches and updates are known well in advance.
Yeah, you kind of know when it's going to happen. I mean, the OCG, they get an announcement of when they will get their list.
Like I said, we get an announcement of announcement.
Now, meanwhile, there's a more optimistic take you can have on it all, which is screw it. Just, like play the game. Because, like, that's, when I think about the ban list stuff, I know when I used to be, like, really on the competitive tournament circuit, the ban list, like, mattered a lot. And this was kind of a whole, just everything to me. The next 3 months of my life hinged on this updated website or whatever. You can also just kind of be like, who cares? Like, because frankly, the ban list probably won't affect most people, like the average player. And who cares when it comes out? You'll just adapt when it happens.
Yeah. The only reason that I think this is special is just how monetarily invested players are.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people...
And like, in the world of $1,000 decks, I think that there is a lot of tension about, like, should I sell or buy or...
And because there's a lot of, like, competitive players who, they play on a budget, so... And a lot of them, they kind of broke the bank to get this deck together. So they want, they want to get some work out of it before they... and they want to get a return on it as well.
Yeah, I was considering going to YCS Raleigh. Raleigh?
That's in North Carolina.
Yeah. That's coming up, and I was like, I might go to this. And I was talking to Trell about going, too, because he kind of wanted to go. But my thing was, like, I did not want to go unless they released a ban list first to hit Snake Eye, because I don't want to play against Snake Eye Fire King.
Why don't you just beat it?
Yeah, so I could do that, or I could play in, like, I don't know, Speed Duel side events and
That's true
get the giant cards. So
hey, we winning over here in Speed Duels. Oh, in the West.
Yeah, in the West.
Yeah. I apologize, Europe. I didn't want this for you guys.
Yeah, that's its own story. But anyways, that's the news about the tins.
Yeah.
Now, there is a little bit of other, like, scant bits of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, OCG news. Mm-hmm. We got Rage of the Abyss, an announcement for the next mainline set that will be after the Infinite.
I saw it. You think they were going into a water format?
I hope so, actually.
That'd be sick.
I think that'd be really cool.
We douse the flames with water.
And then give us an Atlantean structure deck to kind of counter the Fire King one like they did back in, like, 2013 or so.
Wait, do they... Is it I thought Atlanteans are more of a foil for the Fire Fist. Are they?
No. It's for the Atlanteans and Fire Kings are the ones that are... they're the ones that are, like, at war. And Mermails and Fire Fists are the more just kind of on their own archetypes that happen to kind of sometimes work well with them. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I would like to see, like, a water format. But we also don't know what Rage of the Abyss means. It could mean water. That's typically in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what it means.
Yeah, we typically use Abyss with water here.
But it could also mean, like, darkness.
Abyss could also be
Burning
dark.
Abyss,
Do they say anything else in their product description?
They said nothing. There's no other information that I saw anyway, so... is there anything else before we... Because I've got Master Duel stuff. I'm trying to think if, like, the TCGs had any other.
I got an OCG story.
Do you?
Yeah, so... At least in the OCG...
Yeah.
Official Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments in Japan no longer accept foreigners.
I heard this. Now, I heard that there was a little bit more to it.
Yeah, so...
What do they have to say for themselves?
I'm trying to find a good starting part. The article isn't written in kind of a weird way. So, essentially, their Japanese championships, which is this equivalent to our, like, YCSs or our Nats, they are limited strictly to Japanese nationals.
Like Japanese residents?
Japanese nationals, not just not residents. So
nationals as in, like, citizenship.
Mm-hmm. You have to be,
because you're saying nationals like like the tournament. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Japanese nationals.
No. So let's say you move to Japan tomorrow, and you live there. In previous years, you could have played in their official Japanese championship.
Yeah.
This year, you will not be able to because you are not Japanese.
Yeah, okay. I remember hearing about this, and I know people were pretty, like, upset about it, claiming that it's maybe xenophobic, racist, things like that. So to my understanding, I kind of get what I think that they're going for. which is just that like they probably want like a Japanese native to represent Japan at Worlds.
Makes sense.
Would probably be my assumption. Like they don't want maybe a non-Japanese player to. Now, is that still arguably xenophobic? Guess so.
I mean, yeah.
But I don't think that it's like super awful. I say that at risk of sounding maybe like I'd like to know more. Like I don't. Part of me is like, well, it's not my problem, right? I don't live in Japan, so it doesn't really mean anything to me. But
you could live in Japan.
But I could, yeah. It's like in the instance that somebody does live in Japan, it kind of sucks if they can't compete in this sort of thing. I know they also said that was like the case for Europe as well. Like I saw something where if you're like a European player, you have to only play in like European nationals. I need to double check that. I think that's what they said.
Because I mean, I guess it's a little difficult to figure out how you make these types of rules in other countries, because in the West, in the US, we're so used to there's
everyone just kind of does whatever.
An American doesn't have a set look, right? Like you can be an African American, you can be a white American, Asian American, you can be Latino American. There's a lot of looks to Americans, and so at least for our YCSs, it's are you American? And that's really it.
Yeah. Meanwhile.
But I guess and now I think about it, at least in our YCSs, I know you can compete in our YCSs and not be a citizen. But what about our Nats, our nationals? I'm assuming you can't, right?
That's a good question. I don't think that European players can play in our nationals. I believe that's the case. I think it's been like that the whole time, though. So I'm not really sure. I mean,
so I guess that does make some sense to me then.
Like if the player that wins is supposed to represent the country,
then I guess should be of the country.
Because if Joshua Schmidt comes over here and wins like our, I'm just saying, like if he comes over here and wins our like,
that'd be crazy rude.
Then like what happens then? So
that would be so rude.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Like I'm not really like what's that mean? So I guess I get it. I think.
Yeah, it doesn't sound as bad to me, because at first when I read this, I thought they meant that you can't play in their circuit at all. But I think it's literally just their version of Nats, unless this is their version of a YCS. I can't really tell the difference in this case. Yeah, I don't know the OCG tournament structure.
I don't know enough to even have like an opinion on it.
I'm honestly not even sure if the person who wrote this article knew much, because it was confusing to kind of get through.
It's also tough too, because like sometimes stuff is like roughly translated. So if somebody actually in the audience listening knows more, you can fill us in.
Like we're very used to you guys telling us what's really going on.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a funny. Okay, so that does kind of remind me. Sometimes people will like comment on this podcast and be like, "You guys should like research these stories more," and like
I mean they're not wrong.
Like, to be fair, like they're not wrong. I probably should, but also like I'm not afraid to admit like I don't know enough about some of these things to have a strongly defined opinion on them. So like I am addressing them insofar as like this is something I saw, it's intriguing, and here's my like understanding of it. I'm not like I'm not sort of proclaiming this to be the state of the thing. Does that
like? No, I'm with you. I agree. I'm a dumbass. Like I don't know.
Because I don't really know like what the entire like OCG tournament structure is like, or what this policy exactly means. So I mean, if someone can correct me, I'm like happy to be, educated on it. But it's just like I'm not. Anyways, next story.
But look, I have an OCG card, so
yeah,
I'm the authority.
I think that put you in a corner. Okay, so something that we missed last week, this actually happened like literally like after we recorded the podcast, like that night. Match Duel got a new ban list. So I'm not going to spend a load of time.
Sometimes it rains. I don't know what you want.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it, because like everyone kind of knows what's up with it. However, we will quickly go through.
I don't know what's up with it.
You don't. So this happened after the last Duelist Cup ended, which last week we did talk about, Ryan Yu winning, the North America Duelist Cup with Labyrinth, things like that. So, here's what's limited. They limited Performapal 5 Rainbow Magician. If this sounds confusing or whatever, it's because this is a card that was used as a kind of hard counter to Super Heavy Samurai and certain other decks. It would oftentimes be used in the Labyrinth deck. Basically, it's that like pendulum monster where when you activate it, your opponent's like monster effects and stuff are all negated if they don't have at least one set card. And then also if they have like 5 set cards or something, they get like an attack
That's
boost.
a strange Performa Pal card.
It's really weird. It's barely actually used in Performa Pals and more so used in like stun decks and stuff. And so Super Heavy Samurai cannot function under that card because they can't set, like they only have monsters. They can't set a back row card.
Oh, so it has to specifically be a back row card.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So like they can't. I mean, even if it was like a monster, it wouldn't change because then they'd have to like set as their normal summon.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
So yeah, so that card's limited. So that means it's probably not really worth teching anymore. 2 new semi-limited cards: Kashtira Unicorn, which was at 3, now goes down to 2, and Super Heavy Samurai Wagon, which is another one of the extenders in the Super
Good
Heavy
old
Samurai
Wagon.
deck. So this means another hit to Super Heavy Sam's consistency. We know last time they hit Soul Piercer.
Yep.
To 2. So they're slowly kind of cutting away at the consistency of this deck. Despite the fact that we missed this ban list announcement, by the way, this doesn't actually even go into effect until April 11th. So we still got a
we
few
still
days.
on it, yeah.
Yeah, now Kashtira Unicorn going to 2 is another consistency hit for Kashtira. Kashtira is already very bricky and inconsistent in Master Duel. So I think that this is a little extreme. However,
the nail in the coffin.
Unicorn isn't actually really being used as a threat in Kashtira so much as it's being used in things like Snake Eye. Because you use Kashtira Unicorn, you search for Kashtira Birth, and then you are able to send your Unicorn away with something like Snake Eye's Ash, and then Birth can bring it back.
Birth control Snake Eyes.
Yeah, and then next turn, your Birth can bring it back again, and then you can even send the Birth away with Ash, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So, they also put Kashtira Birth to 2, and Nadir's Servant also is going to 2.
So interesting. You ever notice that Master Duel ban lists, they seem to be 90% or maybe even 99% because consistency hits.
Yeah.
They rarely ever seem to hit like an actual thing a deck does, but instead it's always
they want it to be a little less likely that it will happen. It's a weird. So the Kashtira thing is a little bit strange because basically, like Kashtira have even fewer main deck monsters to use, but like I don't know. It's very odd.
Is a Rise Heart at 3?
Yeah, a Rise Heart's still in the game, so like Kashtira can still summon a pretty busted boss, but I just think that it's gonna get so bricky now that
it's weird to. Don't you think it's strange? So many consistency hits to Kashtira. And a Rise Heart just sits there at 3.
Well, I mean, they're just taking an alternate way, I think, of dealing with the deck. Where, like, Kashtira is barely played. A Rise Heart's still busted, but, like, I mean, people just aren't playing it because it's the deck is bricky. Instead, Kashtira is finding its way into other decks as, like, a small little mini engine. So at this point, it's, like, less about hitting Kashtira and more about just, like, hitting the Kashtira bits that are used in other stuff. And now it's, like, at the dismay of a Kashtira. It's really complicated. I don't really know what the hell is going on.
Like, so now my question is this.
Okay.
I cannot let us get away with it without us delving into this.
Okay.
So which is better? The way that the TCG handled it or how Master Duel has handled it?
Well, I'll quickly finish this and then I'll give my stance on that, my current stance anyway. Armageddon Knight's no longer limited. It's now at 3. I don't know if that's a really huge deal because people weren't playing it. And Pirelli Pretty Memories. This is actually going to be a slight buff to Pirelli after they lost a lot of their kind of memory cards and stuff.
It went
over
up?
time. So yeah, like it's back at 3. It was like 2 before. So that could kind of shift the meta a little bit. I'll get to your question, but first I have to talk about how much people hate this list. People on the internet were furious and abhor the implications of this list. They feel that Konami has not hit Snake Eye at all. If anything, actually, Snake Eye has gotten better because Bonfire just came out in Master Duel.
Oh.
Which has made Snake Eye so consistent that, it's like really crazy. And also the new Labyrinth card. The Butler Arius, yeah. It's out. So rough stuff. I mean, I think that this is going to be a case where Konami will probably hit Snake Eyes soon, but it's still like a new pack in the shop and stuff.
Yeah, they're not going to hit it immediately. That wouldn't.
Yeah, they've got to suffer a little bit longer than that. Is this a good way to handle ban lists? The community seems to think no. I seem to think that I would not mind these consistency hits if they were a little bit like less clearly biased against biased towards new things. Like if they will do these consistency hits to Snake Eye, then I'm okay with consistency hits. It's just that like Snake Eye is like the deck that you face right now in ranked, and it's really very obnoxious. And it sort of sucks to see all of the other decks around it get hit more and stuff, while it doesn't get hit when clearly it is the best thing right now.
It kind of feels like the ban list is running behind the metagame because it serves the interests of the current meta.
Yeah, now as for like whether or not, a person wants to have consistency hits versus like actual power level hits to decks, don't know. Don't know where I stand on it. I don't mind these sorts of consistency hits, like I said. I think a lot of people don't like them. I think a lot of people prefer, say, like Snake Eye to have one of its cards banned, right?
It's like ban Flamberg Dragon.
Like ban Flamberg Dragon, ban Original Sinful Spoils, ban something. And that would certainly do a very solid job of like decreasing power level, whereas like little consistency hits. Like Snake Eye is so consistent that like you can't really put stuff like Ash to like 2 and expect to really see a difference. It's all those cards can be seen so easily that
it sounds like Snake Eyes is going to be a real like test to the Master Duel ban list system.
Will that approach work? Yes.
They love just shaving off little bits and pieces of
chipping
decks,
away at the consistency. I don't
know if that works here.
Yeah, Snake Eye, I don't think it's going to be enough.
Because if we just list off the like consistency cards.
The amount of starter cards. Bonfire, Wanted, Diabellstar herself, Original Sinful Spoils, and Ash are like...
Poplar.
Yeah, and then also Poplar can self-start. It's like 6 different cards, or about 18 roughly, depending on how you consider it, like starter cards, where even if they all were to go to 2, it would still be
pretty consistent.
Super consistent. So don't know what they're going to have to do about it. I mean, they're going to have to really kind of... They've got their work cut out for
that
them.
deck's on like Swiss cheese by the time they're done with it.
They're going to have to really work hard at it. But in more optimistic Master Duel news, there is the new Nibiru Duel Trial event happening. So it's a really interesting
horrible
event.
What?
Yeah, so the way that it works is basically at the start of the duel, both players get a Nibiru, the Primal Being, added to their hand. And it's kind of a crazy thing. So it's basically like you get to play knowing that your opponent does have Nibiru in their hand, and also you'll have Nibiru in your hand. So the challenge or test is like, can your opponent play around Nibiru? Or will it even change the types of decks played such that people play decks where Nibiru isn't even a threat at all?
Won't they just play Snake Eye?
Well, I mean, even Snake Eye actually can have some trouble dealing with Nibiru, but I guess if you know that your opponent has one, then maybe that's more reason to like just always do the line that ends in like Apollosa quickly, or
they have 2 kind of annoying lines I've seen where they get around Nibiru like fairly easily, I guess. And if you know your opponent has one, does a Nibiru come into your hand as one of your starting cards?
No, it's like a 6th card.
Oh,
yeah. So you'll always have it, and it doesn't like count to 0.
So it doesn't. So it doesn't
have to be in your deck list. Like it gets added in. It's like those dueling skills where it's like at the start of the duel, this just appears in your deck now. It's in your extra deck now. So I have not gotten a chance to play this yet. I actually really want to give it a crack. However, I have heard that it's actually done a good job of slowing things down because a lot more people are playing like stun or slower decks that just don't have to worry about the Nibiru to begin with. So, because the thing is,
what if you play a deck that has some alternative use for that Nibiru?
Yeah, like if you're playing like a rock deck or something that kind of just needs a discard or whatever, like I mean, there could be some applications there. I think it's a cool idea for an event, and I want to give them a lot of credit for something that's like really interesting as an event. Like, you start with a Nibiru. It's not just like it's the Dark Festival. Great.
The Master Duel events, I think, are getting better as far as the different types of dueling that we do.
They did the GOAT one like last month.
We're still missing the like flair I'd like to see in like these events, but it does not seem like we're moving in an anime direction anytime soon. So
yeah, I mean they're doing cool events, and I think that they are taking people's feedback into account. I think that's how we got the GOAT kind of format one. So
GOAT Matt,
it was okay. So that's kind of the 2 new neat things happening in Master Duel. I don't feel that I've left anything out. I mean, they added like a new X-Saber solo mode, Red Dragon and stuff like that. That support's in the game now. Battling Boxers they got their new support in.
As long as they're low rarity, I build them.
And the Armored Xyz cards, which are all fairly easily obtained. So you might want to hop on and give it a crack. I know you like Battling Boxers and Armored Xyz.
I do like them both.
Okay, I think that's all for Yugioh.
I'm sure something happened in Duel Links, but I've been a little checked out, and I haven't seen anything new. At least not since last time we talked.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No worries. Anywho, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Yu-Gi-Oh. So that allows us to get into maybe a few other card game stories, eh?
Yeah, I got a Magic story.
Do you?
Yeah.
Let's hear it. I have one too, actually. So.
And now, I will preface this, and I apologize to everyone involved. This is from CBR. I did not realize that when I got the article.
Boy.
I didn't realize that when I got the article, but I'm looking at it now.
What does Comic Book Resources have to share with us today?
So, official Magic the Gathering artists called out over stolen artwork. Controversy in the MTG community.
Artwork. Okay, let's hear it.
So,
what'd they steal?
Magic the Gathering artist Donato,
Probably Donato.
Juancola or Giancola. I think that's Juancola. So that's Donato or Donat.
Listen, what did they steal?
Well, he didn't steal. So he's pointed out stolen artwork in the Outlaws of Thunder Junction set. That's the new set that's coming out. It's not out yet.
Okay.
So in a March 25th Facebook post, Juancola called out fellow Magic the Gathering artist Faye Dalton for apparently stolen artwork. So they're calling out one of their own coworkers, essentially.
Oh, really?
The issue lies in one of the two figures on Dalton's card art for Trouble in Pairs from the upcoming Outlaws of Thunder Junction set, which appears to be stripped directly from art Juancola produced for Cyberpunk 2020 Revengers, a novel published in 95. That's 1995. I know a lot of y'all wasn't around back then, but I was too, so.
Okay.
And we have the post here, and Paul, and we're going to show it on screen for you guys too. Do you think this is stolen artwork?
Oh, yeah, it definitely does look like it's like a mirrored.
Like that orange mohawk person looks really...
Orange mohawk, green kind of back skin thing, pose is just mirrored. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly, I mean, it's obviously been modified. So
but it feels heavily referenced, right?
Yeah, it does feel really similar.
Like I feel like Dalton took it easy on this art piece. It's like, you know what? Let me just do some Google searching. Maybe I'll find some inspiration.
Yeah. What else did they say about it?
In the Facebook post, Juancola, they miss. So it was Juancola earlier in the article, but now it's Juancolo.
And CBR, they don't fact check.
Anyway, so Juancolo wrote, "Wow, nearly speechless, but not speechless enough not to contact a lawyer. Criminal copyright infringement." Juancolo pointed out numerous instances that appear to be evidence of direct copying and pasting of the Cyberpunk 2020 Revengers artwork, including exacting details in the neck, arms, background, and hand, which show clear copied structures from my art. Copied and pasted. This is not about similarities. This is about direct copying.
Okay.
So he wants to smoke.
I mean, what do people think? Do we know?
There aren't comments on this story.
Okay.
But I'm sure someone somewhere is.
I'm sure Twitter's probably had a field day. I think that looks pretty heavily inspired. I will say that. So.
It looks suspicious. It just looks suspicious.
Yeah.
And you know how seriously Magic players take their art.
Well, I do have another Magic the Gathering story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love MTG.
You do?
This person does, anyway.
Oh.
But only if I don't have to talk to you.
Wow, disrespectful.
I recently began playing MTG Arena regularly, and it's rekindled a love for the trading card game I thought I'd lost years ago. It's from Molly Russell. She's the writer. A free-to-play, always accessible version of Magic the Gathering appeals in many ways, but there's one major reason it brought me back from the brink. The truth is, I love playing Magic, but I don't want to talk to other MTG players. Sorry, Magic players. It's not you. It's me. No, really, it's me. More specifically, it's being autistic that's led me to these tacky breakup lines. Everybody in the autism spectrum is different, but something about my particular cognitive cocktail makes in-person Magic incredibly stressful. So yeah, basically this article goes into why she finds it very difficult to actually play tabletop Magic the Gathering because of, well, she explains it a little bit here. But basically, difficulties adjusting behavior based on social context. That's kind of one of the common notable traits of autism. And so Magic the Gathering has its own social context, she says. As well as a huge tome of official rules, sounds like Yu-Gi-Oh!, there's an invisible web of social etiquette behind every interaction. This goes beyond just being a humble winner and a gracious loser. Every table has an unspoken contract detailing which decks, cards, actions, and behaviors are taboo.
That is true.
The Command Zone recently shared a long video on the subject, for example. They linked to this video, but obviously we can't really watch that here. When you learn how to play Magic the Gathering, no one teaches you these extra hidden rules, and because you're in a competitive environment, the consequences feel more severe when you put a foot wrong. You might win the game, but upset a stranger without even knowing why. If this sounds like a lot of pressure, that's because it is. Neurotypical people are better equipped to notice social cues, and they're more adaptable to fluid social environments. Many autistic people have to wade through the confusion, mimicking the behaviors they see others display as best they can.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Something that the neurodiverse community calls masking, which is the act of pretending to be a neurotypical person. If you get good at masking, some people won't notice that you're distressed by the lack of social cues. But of course, masking can be tiring. This is something that I've heard from my own friends who suffer from it. And so the mask slips. You get an in-game rule wrong or you break a social rule instead. Maybe your opponent says something or maybe they don't. Either way, you're panicked and embarrassed, acutely aware that you've lost your place in a programmed interaction. And you're so tired. And so basically this person, she sort of found that playing MTG Arena was just better for her because playing in-person Magic was really stressful. The kind of socialization, it just can be a little bit too much.
I get that.
So it's an interesting article. And so that's why she likes MTG Arena. My social interactions are limited to the hello and good game buttons. And at worst, my opponent will send a passive-aggressive oops message, which apparently that's probably like, people have a little chat thing.
You got to find a way to John, man. Like People don't know that the water got in your eyes unless you send them something, Yeah,
there's no eye contact and no space for chat. I can join an MTG draft, and I can take the games at my own pace. Arena lets me take breaks whenever I become stressed, or dare I admit, salty. It's isolated, but it's also peaceful. So
it does remind me of my Street Fighter grind. I remember there was one point where every ranked match was so stressful, I had to take a walk between every game.
Yeah, goodness. So, can you relate to this? Do you feel like when you play, because you play a lot of card games, do you think there's kind of that the set of unspoken rules?
Yes.
And
Magic, almost especially, is so I'm not used to that space, so I don't know everything. And walking into a room of random Magic players, and there's different tables, and you can ask if you see like an odd number of people at a table, hey guys, you looking for an extra player? But you do not know you don't know how they play. You could ask for what's kind of power level here, but everyone's opinions on power levels are different, and some people just hate certain types of cards and decks.
Right.
But they won't tell you ahead of time. You find out at the table.
Right.
I found out that, and I guess I shouldn't be too surprised, but in Yu-Gi-Oh, our decks are so cruel that I never thought it would matter, but people don't like it when you play cards that take their cards from them.
Oh, like in Magic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so I have a deck that kind of just does, I play a pirate deck that loves taking their cards.
Plunders their cards.
And I've upset some people.
People just weren't.
They do not like you.
About just that.
You're depriving them of their ability to enjoy playing the game because you're playing with their cards. They're not playing with their cards anymore.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's not like my deck's not good, but its mechanic is triggering people for some people. But I couldn't have known that going in. And would I have played that deck if I'd known? Sadly, I probably wouldn't have. In fact, I haven't really played that deck since.
But see, that's kind of sad because it's still a deck that's a valid way to play. It's totally legal. But I guess it's just, you kind of have to tiptoe around that set of social constructs.
It's because it's that weird thing about Commander being this kind of user-run format. There aren't really hard rules and etiquettes to these things.
Yeah, so I think I can certainly relate in a Yu-Gi-Oh context. I think Yu-Gi-Oh has a lot of the same things. There are social rules and etiquette things, and at the risk of maybe sounding judgmental towards some people, I think that Yu-Gi-Oh is a game that when you're at the table, it tends to be like, I might have talked about this in a previous podcast. You get a little like tense and jumpy.
Oh yeah.
Like people can, it always feels like it's very, like people don't talk to each other a lot. Usually like affirmations of plays always sound a little like on edge, a little bit like defensive. Like when you play a card and I'll be like, okay. Like I just, in this very, and it feels like people are just always like walking on eggshells around, like you have to keep up with a lot of stuff. And you kind of like, you're always like at risk of like someone claiming that you're slow playing because like you're not playing like fast enough. But then also like if you skip too many things and you play too fast, then like that's also not, that's not really okay either. So
I actually have a pretty good analogy for it. When we spent our time many times at Yu-Gi-Oh tables, both competitively and casually. And you know what Yu-Gi-Oh games remind me of? FGC. It reminds me of fighting games.
Yeah, in a way it does.
Because I've seen quite a few Smash tournaments. I've played in Street Fighter tournaments. In a lot of those situations, you sit down next to this person. You may know them, you may not know them. Your only goal is to crush them. Yeah. Like there's not too much banter unless you're like really good friends, and you're like, and like you both kind of, you have to be like a really hyped up because you got these like twitchy reflexes. You're just ready to like catch someone's drive rush or perfect parry them at a moment's notice.
You have to be really alert.
And it kind of reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh, how when you sit down for a game of Yu-Gi-Oh, even if you're sitting down with someone that you kind of have to crush them.
Yeah, and I think like Yu-Gi-Oh, the way that it works already is kind of built for Salt. Like it's just, you're shutting your opponent out of the game. That's typically the goal. You're supposed to set up enough stuff that they kind of can't play. So that already comes with like its whole fair share of like saltiness. But I think that even when you just consider the etiquette in general, like before you kind of sit down and all that stuff, it's pretty like prickly. I remember I was talking to Chris about it. He was saying how like he doesn't even mean to be rude, but Yu-Gi-Oh like brings it out, like where he's just really just nervous about like just like a bit of missing some chain thing or whatever, and like there's so much with the game state now where you can end up coming across as like on edge when you don't really mean to be, and then some players like they actually are just really mean, or it's rough. I can relate to this girl, like. Molly, I'm with you because I think, like, I don't. That's part of the reason. Like, I sometimes don't like playing like Yu-Gi-Oh at the table. It's just, but then it's like I think that I can sort of be the same way. Where like I'm not very friendly at the table. Like I'm very like focused and kind of like deadpan, and I think even that could make somebody feel uncomfortable because maybe they want to be a little more chatty, and so like I'm maybe depriving them of that and making them feel uncomfortable. So
I like to think I'm a delight to play card games with.
Probably.
I'm a warm ray of sunshine at the table.
But then some people don't even like that because like,
it's
that's
true.
Discomforting.
I've actually
for them.
had people because I like to like chat. I like to make this game, no matter how competitive it seems,
it's like a social
as casual
thing.
And social as I can.
Yeah.
And there are people who that throws them off.
Yeah.
And I notice. And I do it more.
So then there's like a little sinister edge then, huh? Yeah, I don't know. And granted, in the big scheme of things, you can't hold yourself responsible for how everybody feels about every little thing that you say and do.
Can't.
Right? Like you're here to play this card game, just play it and be done. But I do see where like it might be best to just kind of remove so many of the social components. Mm-hmm. One last thing too that I'll say about this is this is why I like Master Duel so much. Like it's the equivalent to sort of MTG Arena. It's just I get to queue up fast. I get to duel. I don't have to like worry about Salt or hearing someone's excuses. And the number one thing that's also really great is that I don't have to deal with like calling a judge over, because in Yu-Gi-Oh that's like the fastest way in many cases to get your opponent like riled up and just angry at you is like when you call the judge on them, because now it's kind of this.
You're saying I'm cheating?
Yeah, you're saying I'm cheating. You're saying I'm this and that.
Then I'm lying.
Yeah, and now like they're kind of angry with you, and so even after the judge leaves, there's now just a cloud over the two of you where it's just true. They're gonna try to now like call you on, you're a shark and you're so I like playing stuff like Master Duel. I can just be like, I don't fucking care about any of this. We're just gonna play. We're gonna duel, and like it's gonna end, and I'm gonna move on to the next person.
See, for me, it's hard for me to play on simulators because
you want the.
I want the sit down. I want the social part. Like for me, that's almost mandatory. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm preparing for a tournament and I need to get reps in, fine. But if I'm playing for fun, I want it to be at a table. I want to look them in the eye. And then chat about some random garbage while we're playing.
Yeah, and I guess it probably varies from shop to shop, place to place, whatever. So, I mean, like, someone's experience might be different. But that's something I would really like to hear about from people listening is, like, do you find the social cues involved in playing these card games to be overwhelming? And that's not even, like, obviously, you know, if you have some sort of neurodivergence, that might be even more relevant. But even if you're not, I mean, like, I think anyone can tell that card games have, like, there's a vibe, so you know you gotta.
And it's not like a judgment thing either. I don't hold anybody against. I don't hold it against anyone how they play Yu-Gi-Oh. This game is tough. This is a tough game, and if you have to like shut down in order to play it, I get it because I can't even do that much.
Yeah, like that's kind of. I think that's actually a good way of describing how I kind of play. Is I like have to shut down, like my social faculties to just play. Lock in, as they say online now. Yeah. So
I like to yap.
Yeah, you're a yapper. Stop all the yapping at the table. I'm trying to lock in here, man. Okay, so that's from Molly. I agree with her. I like my Master Duel. I don't want to interact with you fucks. All right. Kidding, I love you all. So that's my Magic story. Any other card game stories?
I actually didn't find anything else.
Yeah, I didn't see too much card game news.
I don't think there was much. Unless if you guys found something, hey, put it in, throw it in the chat.
We'd always love to hear that. Okay, time to get to the more juicy things. I think I've got a lot of gaming and like digitally media stories.
Yeah, I got some of those too.
All right,
got some of those.
Start us off. We'll fire through these.
So the director of Stellar Blade.
Okay.
Recommends players make Eve, that's the name of the character in Stellar Blade, wear actual clothes as much as possible.
Okay.
That's because, you know, the demo came out and lots of people have been showing Eve in their gameplay wearing her skin suit.
Yeah.
Now, Eve is not naked in this suit. It's
By the way, if you don't know what Stellar Blade is, it's that new kind of
it's a PS5 exclusive
action combat sort of like, RPG-ish
I think we used to think it was going to be similar like a Bayonetta Devil May Cry style game, but it actually seems to be more like a Souls-like game.
Okay. Anyways, continue.
But
the main character
Eve has a body on her, and there's a skin suiting game where she can appear naked, but she's not naked. She's wearing, and how they describe.
Well, they have words for this.
I'm trying to find. Here we go. It's really a skin tight suit.
Yeah.
That is composed of a skin-like fabric, which is why it's so tight on her body.
They say this.
That's how it's described. Okay. But the thing is, according to an in-game description of the suit, it actually punishes players by canceling out their deflective shields.
Oh, so you're actually nerfed if you want her to look more...
if you want to be down bad like that...
You want more eye candy.
You're probably going to take some else.
I think it's actually smart of them. Like, if you want, the eye candy, then you got to deal with the harder difficulty.
Because, like, Stellar Blade's been actually getting quite a bit of buzz online from people who love it and from people who criticize it. Everything from the unrealistic proportions of the Stellar Blade main character, which I should add, and I think most people have talked about this by now, so it's nothing new, but the Stellar Blade main character is actually based off of a real Korean model. The face is different, but the body is actually basically just mocapped, so if you can't really call it unrealistic, is it on the extreme end of bodies?
I mean, yeah, she's a model. It's
certainly extreme,
more,
but it's not unrealistic because, well, it happened. It happened to somebody.
Yeah, it's a human.
It's real.
It's a human. No, I mean, I like just everything that Stellar Blade has done for discourse. I think I've generally liked. Like, I mean, obviously there are people who hate it for a lot of reasons, but I mean, like, I don't know. I think it's refreshing to see a game that sort of owns it, like. the body is like part of the appeal, but like they're kind of, what is the word for it? They're embracing it.
They are embracing it.
It's not, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I
was looking for another article about Stellar Blade where I think it was the director who talked about the game to look at the game as kind of just think of it as entertainment. This is not a social commentary. It's not meant to offend anyone. It's just meant to be an entertaining game. What he essentially said, just don't think too hard about it. It's not that serious.
Okay, well, I have another funny story kind of just about that. So, Katsuhiro Harada.
That's the Tekken director.
Yeah. Has been flooded with all sorts of requests to add things to Tekken 8. From character and crossover requests, his mentions are now being swarmed by requests for a Waffle House stage.
Oh, I saw this tweet.
Yeah. So he actually tweeted, okay, I will ask only once about this request. Why do some communities send me requests for Waffle House? Please be sure to explain the basis for the request, including the original story, history, and background.
I do think you would have to be, I think you'd have to be online a lot to know why Waffle House should be a Tekken stage.
Yeah, like people want Waffle House to be a stage, and like it's one of those if you know things. Mm-hmm. Like Waffle House, it's just if you've been to a Waffle House, you kind of know the vibe. It's known for fights happening in and out of Waffle Houses as well,
and it's not just the customers.
Yeah, sometimes it's the customers, sometimes it's the employees. But yeah, so. An ex-user, Brian Smalley, perfectly broke down why this iconic landmark should be in Bandai Namco's latest fighting game.
Did they really call it an iconic landmark?
That's what they say. Okay. In a set of tweets, he said the following. 1, as many have noted, it is a place where many, many fights happen. Number 2, it's an iconic Southern American diner. It's open for business 24/7, and that includes holidays. It's one of the most iconic businesses in the South. True. The staff there have to deal with a lot, including drunk people coming in after the bar or club and getting into fights. Often those fights are recorded by bystanders. Sometimes people try to fight the staff, and those people always lose. Waffle House staff
100% of the time.
A Waffle House stage can be anywhere in 50% of America. It lets you have a stage in America without tying it down to a specific state. And number 6, the food is incredible. Harada-san. Sorry. I was going to say Sama. So, yeah, people want this Waffle House stage, and he's actually said that he would like to consider it. So
shit, I'm on board. That person, they convinced me. I was like, this is such a joke. That's a pretty good explanation. I actually want it in the game now.
Here's what he said. Thanks for the explanation, guys, and I understand that many people are requesting it. However, I think you are missing one important point. The restaurant has both the trademark and the rights to the restaurant. So if the restaurant chain's headquarters refuse to accept my proposal, it will not happen. Still, though, he's already saying here that he would be willing to make the proposal.
That's true, but yeah, I doubt Waffle House corporate wants to be known as like a fighting
place where people fight. I mean, somebody suggested they could change it to like Pancake House and just keep it otherwise kind of like
they can go for a hard parody.
Parody thing. I don't know. I thought that was just like a fun little. I would play on the Waffle House stage.
Like, I would. I think that there's a lot of fun things you could do there. I've always been worried about Harada's aggressive, or not aggressive, but pretty off. He's on Twitter a lot. And I was like, oh no, he's not gonna make it. But I mean, he's done well. Like,
there was actually a tweet just the other day where he was having dinner with Masahiro Sakurai, director of Smash Bros, and Yoshi P, director of Final Fantasy 14,
the
16.
3 goats.
Yeah, and they were all like just having dinner and like taking pictures about it. And, like, we just had a little date. And, like, people were like, what could this mean? Like, what could this mean? Like, are we going to get...
the greatest crossover in history.
Yeah, like, what, Tekken X Final Fantasy X Smash, like, what's going to happen here?
Like, Mario and Clive from Final Fantasy 16 are coming to Tekken.
Jin Kazama or whatever. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was kind of a fun thing. Like, people love seeing these sort of the goats of like Japanese game development or whatever, kind of having dinner.
No, I think about it. I mean,
they're up there.
The 3 of them. They've had to have worked together. Given that
the thing is, like,
well, I guess
Kazuya's in Smash Bros.
Kazuya's in Smash.
Cloud is in Smash Bros. That's not really like Yoshi P's character.
That's true.
But still, I mean, Yoshi P has like worked on so many other.
15. What's his name?
15.
Final Fantasy 15. Main character.
Oh yeah, Noctis.
Noctis was in Tekken.
Yeah, he was in Tekken.
But he wasn't made by Yoshi P either.
So that probably means that we are going to get a Clive in Tekken. That's like copium, I know, but...
So lame. I don't want Clive in Tekken.
Clive's
I want Tifa.
Tifa would fit better.
I want Tifa in Tekken.
Fit better. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of a fun little thing. Anyways, back to you.
Okay.
That technically wasn't even a story that like I had. I just remembered it when you mentioned the Stellar Blade stuff.
All right, so this one's not quite as fun or sexy.
Okay.
Or I guess depends on like how you feel about Vladimir Putin.
Okay.
Vladimir Putin pushes Russia to make consoles to compete with PlayStation and Xbox.
Oh, you gotta be joking.
No joke.
Wait, so do they not sell their consoles in Russia? Is that why that is?
Well, ever since the war in Ukraine, a lot of like video game publishers and stuff they've pulled away from Russia. Okay. And I think the Russian economy has lost some dollars because their video game industry is weaker now, and Putin's got a plan.
Okay.
So if you thought the current landscape of video game consoles and handhelds was already packed, the entirety of Russia has something to say about that.
Do they?
At the very least, Russia's president, Vladimir Putin, does, since he's issued a mandate: produce Russian video game consoles to compete with the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S. Bit of a tall order there.
Yeah, very tall order.
Per a report from the Russian newspaper Kommersant, I don't know how to say that. The order was handed down from the Kremlin to consider the issue of organizing the production of stationary and portable. That's what they call their like. It's like when we talk about Washington.
Oh, I guess it's like from the Gremlin or something like that.
They call it like the Kremlin.
Okay.
So consider the issue of organizing the production of stationary and portable game consoles. Kommersant's resources tell the nationally distributed Russian paper that the VK Group, a major Russian tech company behind the similarly named social media service, VK, which I've never heard of, will be largely responsible for the project. The production of consoles will be handled by the GS Group, never heard of that either, which was previously known as General Satellite and is the single largest Russian developer of set-top boxes. Set-top boxes? They do set-top boxes?
I mean, I guess that some people maybe still use those.
I mean, I guess, but they're going to make gaming consoles?
I mean, if it's a tech company, I suppose it can. Now, the bigger issue is, like, how the hell do they plan to compete with? I mean, no, not happening.
I mean, maybe they just mean in the Russian market.
But even still, they'd have to have games, too. Because, like, they can develop the console, but, like, there's still got to be games for it. They can woo some
game developers. Let's see what else they say. As part of the order from the Russian government on March 25th, the VK and GS groups will be responsible for producing both home and portable consoles for Russian consumers by June 15th, 2024. That's okay. Soon. The order has only grown taller. This move isn't Russia's first in the video game industry. The country tried to penetrate gaming communities last year and considered creating its own game engine the year before that. But it does mark a remarkable shift. Oh, I didn't like that phrasing. But it does mark a remarkable shift since the majority of the games industry cut off relations with the country amidst its invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Russia's government is now trying to effectively kick off its own gaming industry, likely to offset the financial sting of those sanctions.
All right, well, you buying your Russian PlayStation?
Nah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to really work.
I'm a warm, red-blooded American. I only play Japanese.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to really plan out for them. I don't think that's going to really work. But they have to try something, right?
I don't know what gaming is like in Russia. If there has been a strain on like Russian people getting access to games and consoles and stuff, maybe this is a move for them. I don't know where the games will come from.
That's what I'm wondering, because like you can make the console, sure, but like the developers just have to come from somewhere. I mean, they can't all exist in Russia, I would imagine.
If I had to guess, but they're not going to want to use. I mean, maybe if I had to guess, it'll be more of like PC analog type consoles.
Okay, I get what you mean. Yeah. I
mean, I don't know if they want to use Windows necessarily, but
they may not. I mean, I'm really curious. Like, I just need to find this out.
What?
Like, is the PS5 like available
Like
in Russia?
I think it is. Like
can
I
you
haven't
just
heard it's
buy
not, but I don't
it?
get a lot of Russian news. You might not know that about me, guys, but I don't get a lot of Russian news.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, okay. So PS4 and PS5 games and systems no longer being sold in Russia. Oh, that happened in March 2022. So
That sounds about
Sony
right
suspends
with the.
PlayStation Store and console sales in Russia. So yeah, I don't know if that's changed.
I mean, the invasion in Ukraine hasn't ended yet, so
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just not the case. That is, huh?
So it does sound like the gaming industry there is in a bit of dire straits, and so they're going to try. They're proposing a homegrown solution. It is interesting that the leader of their country is like, "We need video games."
Yeah, I mean the thing is like, kind of getting that entire infrastructure down would take like a decade. I feel.
It would take
like
a
because
lot
if you
of
actually
work.
consider like how much like we take it for granted that like PlayStation and Xbox and stuff around, but they're only here after like fierce competition and like extensive R&D just over the course of like decades. What?
I'm sorry. I just started thinking about what if Biden was doing that.
Oh,
and he had to
Biden's
tell
like,
us
we're gonna.
because he was like, we're gonna revitalize the gaming industry. You know, I'm a bit of a gamer.
That sounds like a Biden
Right.
quote.
Like, Joe, you still there? Tetris. What? Oh yeah, I used to play a little bit of the Atari.
Well, all I'm saying is I don't think that any country really can expect to like snap their fingers and just
You can't just make
game
like
successful gaming console.
yeah. What are they,
and
Soldier Boy?
infrastructure. Yeah, he can. That's true. So good luck.
Oh my God, I gotta tell you a story, Paul.
Okay.
So I went home not long ago, right?
You did.
And my dad, for some reason, just loves TikTok. And
Oh dear.
so you know what he bought on TikTok, Paul?
What did he buy?
This man looked me in my eyes and told me he bought a gaming console off TikTok.
Isn't TikTok like TikTok shopping where it's like just full of drop shipping bullshit from China?
Yes, and
Okay.
that's literally what he has. So I'm like, okay, show me what you got here. So he hands me a knockoff old school PS2 controller.
Okay.
Like it literally looks like a DualShock 2, but clearly a knockoff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, where's the rest of the console? There's a little like flash drive plugged into the TV. I'm like, oh, here we go.
Oh, it's one of those.
And-
did you just have like one of those things where it's like a bunch of
Yes.
okay.
No, it's just nothing but like emulators and ROMs, and they are not optimized or well run at all. At first, so I dogged him out. I'm always getting on my dad's back about buying things off TikTok, but when it comes to gaming, I really had to get on him. But I was like, you know what? Okay, let me try this stupid thing, right? We booted up Sonic and Tails.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2, maybe?
Is that Sonic? Yeah, I think it's Sonic Hedgehog 2. Well, I mean, I wouldn't know that. Why? Because the game booted, cool. Then I couldn't walk backwards.
Oh yeah, like just messed up, little jacked up controller from
Like
China.
I could, the controller worked. The ROM
The game
did
wouldn't
not.
read it?
There was some weird disconnect. I couldn't go backwards, and you know how awkward it is to be try and
Yeah,
play
I mean, you
Sonic,
can't do that.
and you can't go
Sometimes you have to.
backwards.
So what you're telling me really is that these are the sorts of games that the Russians are going to be playing here in June, come June.
Because like it's either that or some like horrible like just open source Russian propaganda games, Call of Duty, but like Call of the Kremlin.
A new set of bad guys in
Like-
the Call of Duty game. Well, I mean,
Oh wait, the jokes I was about to make are gonna go into a political territory. I
yeah.
stopped myself.
Yeah, no politics allowed on this podcast. Got it? That's the rule. Okay. Well, anyways, before we get too political, I suppose we better shift gears, talk about a different story, huh?
Yeah, I got one.
We wouldn't want the politics taken over, would we? Well, I also have a story.
All right, what you got?
Yeah. So we're talking games, huh?
We're on games for now.
Okay. So can you guess who the most iconic video game character is?
Pikachu.
No.
No,
Take another guess.
no, I'm pretty sure it's Pikachu.
Lara Croft is the, quote, most iconic
That's
video game
BS.
character.
That is not true.
New poll finds.
That's not true.
You're going to love this. More than 4,000 gamers voted for the character as their favorite in a poll conducted by the British Academy Film Awards.
Only 4,000?
Well, I mean, that's how many people got, like, voted for her. And maybe it was more people in general that voted. But anyways, this is a poll conducted by the British Academy Film Awards, ahead of their Game Awards. Yeah, Lara Croft, the iconic lead of the Tomb Raider franchise, sped past Super Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog to top a new list of most iconic video game characters of all time. More than 4,000 gamers around the world voted for their top character in a recent poll. So it was, like, I guess, 4,000 some people. Ahead of the 20th Game Awards on April 11th. So, yeah, Lara Croft, whom the BAFTAs described as a generation-spanning heroine, is considered the first lady of video games. She made her debut in the original Tomb Raider in 1996. You agree with this?
No.
Nor do I.
Not even close. And I love Tomb Raider. I've played two. I played two Tomb Raider games when I was a kid. I haven't played the remakes, but I still love them. But there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering, like, who the hell is voting in this? Like I guess if you're like an older millennial, there's an argument for it, I suppose, where, like, maybe you kind of, you know, you grew up on the Tomb Raider. But ahead of Mario, like Link.
I don't know
Sonic.
how you can get ahead of Pikachu.
I mean, like, even, like, I don't know if Pikachu maybe wouldn't be considered part of this, and it's, you know, it's like, it's not a character, it's like a creature. I don't know. But either way, I still don't see how, like, Lara Croft is beating, like, Mario, for instance.
Like, I know people who still don't know how to use a controller, but they know Pikachu.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is interesting because I guess these people are going to be putting on a Game Awards show, so maybe they... Curious.
I mean, I'm not going to judge the quality of their game awards because... Well, I mean, hopefully,
there's, like, a bunch more to that.
Hopefully, the people who voted in this poll aren't the same people who voted on, like, who should win the games. Because for one thing, I think 4,000 people is way too small of a sample size for the kind of statement we're making here.
Yeah. Now, for what it's worth, I mean, I can agree with the idea that, like, Lara Croft is maybe the first lady of video games. Like, that's what they kind of call her.
If you specifically, like, if it was only around, like, female characters,
yeah, the first lady of games.
I think she could get up there. I do think she could get up there.
So who do you think's, like, competing for other, like, first lady of gaming?
I mean,
Peach?
Like Princess Peach, which she wasn't really playable, so that maybe that's like a mark against her. I put Samus over her every time, but I love Metroid Zero Mission. That's just me.
That's fair. I was gonna say, I mean, like, Chun-Li. Probably not, like...
Chun-Li's a strong pick.
Yeah. Is it over,
like,
top 10?
Is she over Lara? Not sure.
Probably not over Lara.
In certain places, she probably is. I don't know. In general.
I can get with Lara being the first lady of video games. Just not, like, most iconic
character. Not the most iconic character ever, because there's some serious heavy hitters that's honestly impressive.
Yeah, I don't see that as... I mean... But that's what they say. I thought it was kind of an interesting poll. I would love to hear in chat, if you're listening live... Who is the most iconic video game character? I mean,
who's the first lady?
And who's the first lady? Maybe that's the more interesting one. Like, I think she could win that, just maybe not most, like, iconic, but Lara Croft. Anywho, back to you. Number
Cool.
2.
So, have you seen the new Godzilla movie?
I haven't.
Me neither, but you have seen Pink Godzilla, right?
I have.
So, they're saying Godzilla's new pink transformation was actually inspired by Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, it's one of those. They have so many colors in that shit. Like, just there's like Super Saiyan Blue and all that.
Well, this actually is a reference to a much older transformation in Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
So, in a Twitter/X AMA, this is the Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire lead character designer Jared Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
Krzyzewski replied to a fan asking if Godzilla's new pink design was inspired by Goku Black's Super Saiyan Rose form. And that's from Dragon Ball Super. And he replied, I didn't see Goku Rose until years later, but I did base the transformation off of Kaioken, and that was Goku's first transformation that he used, but well before he actually got his hands on Super Saiyan.
Interesting.
Kaioken, one of Goku's earliest transformations, is a unique technique that acts as a power and speed multiplier. Goku has used this signature red form to even the odds to iconic Dragon Ball Z battles with Vegeta and Frieza, and in Dragon Ball Super against Hits, he combines it with Super Saiyan. Unlike his various Super Saiyan color palette transformations, Kaioken only gives Goku a short burst of power with a pretty hefty side effect. Kaioken comes with the caveat of putting major physical stress on Goku, exemplified in the anime with the heat radiating off his body and pulsing veins the longer a fight drags out. Whereas Goku, we're not going to read the whole thing, they're just padding it out. But I am kind of curious if because Kaioken is red, but this Godzilla is pink. Is there more to it than that? Will this Godzilla turn pink and he gets tired 5 minutes into the fight and they're like, go, his power level is dropping under 9,000. Godzilla's weakening.
I mean, I suspect it's probably just kind of a reference in color alone, I would hope. I mean, I don't know. That's usually, I think, when things are referenced, it's got to kind of be a quick thing and then you know what I mean? It's it's the same color. It's kind of inspired by that. It's another really good example, though, of just, that far reach that Dragon Ball has had across so many shows and movies and kind of just things like that.
So he does go on to say that I wanted it to be part of the major drive of the story. Why Godzilla was getting this new look. And the pink color itself, it's not random. It's not just like he evolves and for some reason the blue turns pink. Keeping the Dragon Ball Z parallel alive, Khrushchevsky teased fans saying Godzilla was in the middle of transforming while in his pink form, possibly hinting at an all-new transformation in a future film.
I didn't actually know that Godzilla was transformed in these movies.
He doesn't.
Oh, is that a new thing?
This is a new thing. Godzilla has never done this.
Oh.
So that actually reminds me of something I said about this movie before. Off screen, off camera, of course. I do want to see Godzilla X Kong, but this movie certainly feels like a departure from good cinema.
A departure from good cinema? How do you mean?
Because it feels like this movie, while a grand spectacle, and I will see it. I mean, it's a giant CG fest, devoid of.
Isn't that what I thought? That's what people liked about these King Kong, Godzilla movies, was just giant fighting kaijus.
But they've officially gone a step further.
I guess the transformations.
We have transformations. Kind of I don't know if you've seen the trailers, but Kong has this robotic arm gauntlet thing.
Oh yeah,
so and it's very Transformers-esque.
So you're saying they're doing a little too much.
They are doing a little too much. They're in a bag that I didn't think we needed to be in, but we're here now.
Maybe that's the natural escalation you have to take. You know what it reminds me a lot of?
What?
The Fast and the Furious movies.
Woo!
Where what started as kind of just street racing with some fairly high stakes is now we're in outer space and
it used to be there were some heists,
high tech, super futuristic
spy stuff,
explosions everywhere now. I think that it's kind of cool because some people just like that degree of mindless, senseless, just fun and action. But as somebody who's maybe only seen one kind of Godzilla movie or whatever, and it was when I was a kid, I just remember it kind of not being so techno and transformation-y. It wasn't really there is always technology in Godzilla movies. Well, I guess not always, but in many there is. It's never to this degree, and it's just strange because Godzilla minus Zero came out last year in the winter sometime. And it's such a different Godzilla film. It was extremely popular, and I loved watching it. It was such a different film compared to this. This one feels like the Michael Bay version. And I haven't seen it yet, guys, so don't take that as a review. That's just a knee-jerk kind of comment. Well, so is it out or is it
It's out. It came out last weekend.
Oh, okay. I thought this was something that was coming out soon. Okay, cool. All right, well, I've got another interesting little story here.
What you got?
You'll soon start seeing ads on Discord. from your friends.
I don't know what that means.
So, Discord actually does not use ads. Like, you might have noticed, you never actually see, like, ads in Discord.
I haven't?
Which is nice.
Oh, okay.
Apparently you haven't. Discord will soon start incorporating ads into its...
Wait, no, I have seen ads. They always try and get me to buy that Discord...
Nitro. That's just its own thing.
I hate that ad.
Well, anyways, Discord will soon start incorporating ads into its free in-game chat and streaming software, despite the fact that the company has long said it didn't want to rely on ads for revenue like other social media companies. According to a report from the Wall Street Journal, Discord is looking to integrate ads from video game developers and publishers in the coming week. They previously detailed their ad approach in a blog post. The idea is that you'll earn gifts for playing games and completing sponsored quests, specific in-game tasks, while you stream for friends to watch. So basically, I guess you play this little weird ad game, and you stream it, and your friends watch it, so now they're being advertised to as well. So friends watching will then get their own chance to complete a sponsored quest and earn their own rewards.
So, okay. That really sounds unique. Almost too unique for me to really understand what they're even talking about here.
So, I mean, I guess, like, you're on Discord, right?
Yeah.
You use Discord to, like, kind of chat with your friends while you play games, or just chat just in general or whatever. And also, when you're in, like, Discord servers or even with your friends, you can actually stream to your friends. That's a feature that's on Discord.
I've seen that.
So now there will be ads, and I guess the ads are meant to encourage you to, like, click this ad and, like, play this little game. It'll come up. It's like a mini little game, and you stream that to your friends in chat. Is my understanding.
So, like, I would play, like, a Purina Puppy Chow game, and, like,
possibly
my friends would watch me play it. Like, I'd feed and if you, the kibble to the puppies.
Yes, and if you stream it to them, then you'll get some little, digital currency type of reward for it, and then they'll have the opportunity to also do it and, like, earn,
I might have lost some words.
Discord has a long history of claiming it didn't want to run ads like other companies that offer software and social networking services. Instead, the company offers Nitro subscriptions to users that give them enhanced functionality when they use Discord and range from $2.99 to $9.99 per month. As Ars Technica pointed out, Discord noted its anti-ad stance as recently as January. And so now it seems that their stance on ads and the subscription model are changing.
Well, they're completely flipping it. I mean, you're going from not having ads to like extremely interactive ads. Like, I hate that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that whole. You ever heard of the term enshittification? Like, it's an actual.
Can we say that on here?
It's like a thing that they'd say about on the internet.
Oh,
like the enshittification of society. Well, basically,
saying shit, no.
Yeah. So, it's just this idea that, like, given enough time, any service or thing that you love will become shitty. Basically, just through...
That does make sense.
Through ads, through selling your data, through whatever intrusive thing, it just kind of, things will be ruined over time. Yeah, so it seems Discord's stance on ads and subscription model are changing. The company laid off 17% of its workforce in January, or around 170 employees. At the time, CEO Jason Citron said the decision was made after it became, quote, increasingly clear that the company needed to sharpen our focus and bring more agility to our organization. So, will ads work in the company's favor? Who's to say? Because, I mean, I think that, unfortunately, there's never, like, a net benefit to having ads interrupt your... Like, you can never make ads a fun thing.
Nope. Even if the ads are well targeted and they are serving their purpose, you're never enjoying it.
Yeah, people
except for like that one Raid Shadow Legends ad, I like that one.
People like Discord because it offers easy communication in a largely unobtrusive way, and ads will weaken that experience regardless of whether they offer digital goodies along the way. It's also possible that Discord's advertising plan to encourage its users to do the advertising to their own friends will have the opposite effect and annoy users who feel like their friendships are being monetized by the platform, which is actually something that that was kind of where I was at with it, where like it reminds me of those days of like the old Facebook games where it would be like, invite your friends to play Farmville or whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, golly, that was annoying.
Ooh, you took me back.
So, yeah. So it's kind of like, it feels like, that friend who's kind of offering you the pyramid scheme a little bit. Yeah. Maybe not as intrusive, but just like, hey, Alec, I see that you're online. Let me stream this weird ad little experience to you so that, like, I can get the digital currency and then you can stream it to your friends. It's like they're kind of monetizing literal, like, relationships that you have with your friends on Discord. And, like, but now Discord, the company, is taking those relationships and kind of, like, taking advantage of them and monetizing them.
1 second, Paul. I let the people know. If any of you guys ever see me on Discord and you send me an ad game or a stream if I swear to God, you're getting blocked. Everybody's getting blocked. I better never see that. I promise you.
Alex says he will fail you. That's what they've been saying online. Yeah, I don't like. I've never liked those things where like they're trying to make your friend be the person to send you the advertisement.
That is disgusting.
It brings me back to the Facebook invites days.
I'm seeing it as almost like a drug mule. You're like a mule to push ads. So hey guys, you want to try out these new Discord ads? I'm trying to get that Discord Nitro for this month, y'all. Just click the ad, man.
I wonder if they're gonna do the thing where like you don't get ads if you have Discord Nitro. Like I assume that could probably be like a sales pitch. So now you're more encouraged to get Discord Nitro so that you can avoid the ads showing.
And I probably wouldn't hate it as much if we were just doing normal ads. I can't stand interactive ads.
Yeah, it's such a bother. I mean, I really don't like ads too much to begin with, but like. I get it. I mean, I guess this company, they're trying to find a different way to make money. I hope that it doesn't cause the downfall of Discord because, like, companies like Skype have, like, fallen for similar reasons. Like, kind of becoming
Skype.
So
Is it still around or is it actually gone?
That's a good question.
I haven't seen Skype in a long time.
I haven't seen it in a long time either. I think it just got bought by, like, Microsoft Teams.
Oh.
I think that because Microsoft bought Skype a long time ago, and now I think they've just kind of consumed
folded it in.
Yeah, it's just Microsoft Teams. Like,
makes sense.
Video messaging and chat and stuff. What you
got? Some changes on the popular streaming platform Twitch.tv.
Oh, okay. I've heard about these. Let's hear them.
All right. So I got two different ones. We'll start off with this one. This one's a little bit older. Twitch bans turning butts and boobs into green screens.
What? I was just about to kickstart my career.
Bro, I'm a little mad I'm a little cross myself because I only found out about this after they've already banned it.
What do they have to say?
So, the latest update, or it's not the latest anymore, but at the time, the latest update to Twitch's community guidelines is oddly specific. According to the update, starting March 29th, content that focuses on intimate body parts for a prolonged period of time will not be allowed. The move is without a doubt a targeted response to the new Twitch meta, they love their Twitch metas, wherein streamers project gameplay onto a green screened part of their bodies, specifically the breast or buttocks. I like the word buttocks.
Buttocks.
And they have this video of the streamer Morgue Pie, and she's got these green screen shorts on. They're very small shorts, and you can see Fortnite on her ass.
Seen this video, yeah. That's the viral one. I've seen a lot of these streams where, I mean, what is there to say about Twitch these days? I mean, I feel like it's almost like a race to the bottom with what a lot of the streamers and like just chatting and stuff.
But the thing is, at least she's gaming. Like,
yeah,
she's playing a game. That's better than what we get on like half the platform. It feels.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, I think like with Twitch, they need to just figure out like. Lay a line in the sand. Like, do you want to be like what kind of platform do you want to be? Like, is it supposed to be a kind of like
softcore?
It feels like it, yeah. Because I mean, like, is it supposed to be like a gaming kind of entertainment sort of thing, or is it like softcore, like you said, where I mean, you just watch these streams of softcore porn and kind of other things. Not to say that there isn't a place for that sort of content. Like,
it's called cam sites.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Is like that content kind of belongs on cam sites to me. Like Twitch is a place where it's a lot of kids are on Twitch, a lot of minors and stuff.
And this is what they want.
Teens and stuff. And yeah, I'm sure there are some of them who probably don't mind seeing this.
When I was 15, boy, I would have been. Ooh.
But it's just also like, man, it's scary because like a kid could be watching a Roblox stream or something, and like this, green screen ass stream is like a click or two away.
I mean, in order to have gotten to that Roblox stream, they probably had to go to the Twitch homepage, and right there on the Twitch homepage would have been Morgue Pie's green screened ass.
Well, they at least have. I remember they made that one policy some months back that they would not feature that stuff on the front page.
Oh,
but
okay.
I will tell you where I will see it. I see it in the sidebar a lot. So
I mean, that just tells me what you've been looking at.
Yeah, maybe they just know me really well. So I don't know. I mean, what's your honest take on it? I mean, good, bad?
I think it's good. I'm just mad that I missed out. I want to see it at least once, just to experience it. Now I never will.
Yeah.
But Twitch is constantly updating their guidelines. It feels like every week there's a new Twitch guideline update, like this one. Updated Twitch banned streamer policy. Creators can discuss/react to VODs and live streams from suspended users.
Okay.
And here's the official tweet from Twitch support. Today we're making a change to our suspension policy to help provide clarity around what is allowed when viewing content created by a suspended streamer. Moving forward, our community guidelines will allow you to discuss or react to VODs or live streams from suspended users. Hosting a suspended user directly on your stream, sharing their content verbatim without reaction or discussion commentary, or having a suspended user participate on your channel, and it cut off. I'm trying to see if it's going to load up, but it's not allowed. It's still not allowed. So, you know what that says to me?
What does it say?
It says Twitch wants their very active and loyal fan base to make content, and then that content is like suspension and ban worthy. So then they will ban them, but they still want to be able to benefit from the virality of those extreme things. So that, like, hey, we want you to react to this banned content. Like, we don't want you to be scared. It's okay. You can, as long as you talk about it and you comment on it, you go put it on your stream.
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. Twitch is a cesspool. I really don't. I mean, I know like it's easy to say, kind of outside looking in. I don't use Twitch very much. I'm only on it to watch
Kai Cenat.
No, I see enough clips on Twitter. Nothing against him, but I'm not tuning in. It's just I use it to watch like fighting game tournaments, like Smash Bros. Tournaments, some weekends when they're happening. And honestly, if I ever had the choice, I'd really rather watch those on YouTube. But Twitch just feels like there's like something new every other week with their terms of service, someone getting banned, some controversy. It's like it's just not a very like chill site, it seems like. I don't know. I mean, I guess like it's better than Kick. I hear worse things on Kick and stuff, but like it's weird because like when I hear this news, maybe I'm viewing this the wrong way. So somebody can update me if I'm, can inform me if I don't have the right sort of gist of this. It's okay, like we'll ban people, and it's okay for you to like react to the content that got them banned, like, or is it like what are they saying? Are you able to just because you were always able to like talk about, I guess, somebody getting banned,
but I think people were worried that they weren't able, that people didn't want to share. Like, because, if we do like a YouTube reaction video, you would share the video that you're reacting to. And so
if you're reacting to that, when the ban happens, you won't be held.
You won't be held responsible. You won't get banned in response for it. It's like, so you want to be able to like enforce your policies and guidelines, but at the same time, you encourage people to view and react this content.
Yeah, there's something weird about it that rubs me the wrong way.
Messaging feels mixed.
It feels like it's just like we're acknowledging that people get banned for silly stuff, and we'll still let you react. Like I don't know. I might have too negative a stance on like this Twitch stuff sometimes, but it just feels like it's like the site. It's like we're sort of vaguely stirring the pot a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like just that's we're just stirring the pot. Feel free to.
It feels like. Because every so often Twitch, they kind of update their policies because they like, we just want to clear some things up. We just want to make things a little clearer for you guys.
It's like how much more clarity is missing from this site? Like
they update the policy and it's no clearer. In fact, we're more confused.
Like, it's always like there's like more confusion, and also it.
Remember the nudity update, and then a bunch of artists got banned.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's just there's so many things where like Twitch. They change something back, or they change something, it's like ambiguous, and then like people push the meta really far and see how like far they can kind of toe the line and break the rules. It's like Twitch just, like I said about the first thing, I'm just not even sure like Twitch knows exactly what it wants to be as a platform. Twitch like isn't profitable still. Like they still are not a profitable company. Amazon owns them. And so they're always kind of like looking for ways to maybe make more money in advertising or services that they offer. And so maybe that's kind of part of why they want more stuff to go viral. And it's weird.
It's crazy to me that Twitch has not managed to turn a profit, given their extremely aggressive and annoying ads.
Their ads are very intense.
I hate their ads.
You can get like these like 90-second or 2-minute long ads. When
Unskippable.
You're trying to enter streams. Like it's pretty rough. So I know. I guess it's supposed to get you to want to get like Twitch Prime, so you don't see ads on this person's channel, and that's the sales pitch.
And the fact that that's not enough, golly.
Yeah, the fact that that's not enough. Their ads are rough. Like YouTube ads, I can skip it after 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So
I get mad when I get one of those unskippable like 45-second ads. I'd be mad. Twitch don't play.
Yeah. So, I mean, good for them. I hope that Twitch can maybe this clarity update will help out or something like that. I'm not really sure.
Well, now when someone gets banned for green screening their titties, I can react to it, and I won't be in trouble for it.
Right, and you'll be I think that'll be a fun time.
Cool.
Okay, well, speaking of stuff like Twitch, would you believe me if I told you that 60% of all playtime in 2023 was spent on live service games that are more than 6 years old?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So, new market data shows...
Wait, when did Fortnite come out?
New market data shows that 60% of playtime across consoles and PC was spent on live service games that are over 6 years old, such as Fortnite,
cool.
Minecraft, Counter-Strike, and others. The report from market researcher Newzoo by Kotaku claims that the PC and console markets generated $93.5 billion in revenue during 2023. Most of this revenue and most of the total playtime was spent on heavyweight established titles. For example, Fortnite tops the charts on every platform. Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, Counter-Strike 2, Rocket League, and Apex Legends also take prominent spots. Each platform does have its idiosyncrasies. Roblox and The Sims 4 took prominent spots on the PC chart. Starfield cracked number 8 on Xbox. Tears of the Kingdom was the second most played game on Switch. But the lists are mostly uniform across platforms. So I've actually heard some people talking about this, and it's sort of the big takeaway. Well, first of all, what do you think?
That, my favorite game is better than all yours. I'm just saying, we're number one. Fortnite, let's go. That's it. Right. That's all my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, so what people are kind of saying about this is just that, like, it seems like new games aren't getting attention from the kids or the youth or whoever, the gamers in general playing. Yeah, like people would rather play an established game than really play a new game released last year, and that kind of maybe doesn't bode super well for the future of the games industry or the innovation at play, because like already this game cycle, like PS5, Xbox Series X, has not been like super, like it feels like there hasn't been a lot of innovation in gaming.
Right.
We haven't gotten like those big new games that kind of define the generation, the must-haves. I must buy like a PS5 for this experience sort of thing. I must buy an Xbox Series X. Things don't really push the consoles to the limit. It's more like these cross-platform games that are also released on PS4 or whatever. And now in the world of kind of live service games, a lot of people would just rather log into Fortnite than play whatever came out like last year.
I mean, I think to some degree, this actually I think this makes sense given the differences between the types of games we're talking. Live service games, they give you the ability to just play them for a longer amount of time.
Yeah.
When you beat Spider-Man, I mean, you can play it for a little bit longer after you beat it, but when it's done, right? Mm-hmm. But you can never be done with Fortnite. So even if you're not, because you could play every hot new game like in a year and still have more hours in Fortnite.
Right.
Just because of the nature of the game.
So I guess what you're saying is that it's not like this isn't a super surprising statistic, because like if it's a persistent game, then of course it's going to pick up more latent playtime. And
with new games, you have to spend money and buy those new games. So whereas it's always going to be a little bit easier to play your live service games.
Those are the ones that are like free to play. Mm-hmm. Apex or Fortnite or whatever. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think as for me, it's personal testimonial, that's pretty much the case with me. I don't play any new games. Like everything I log into is like Final Fantasy 14, Master Duel, maybe one or two other little things. So
I mean, there are people who go out their way to play all the new games, and hats off to y'all. Y'all deserve a cookie. The rest of us, we have our live service comfort zones.
Yeah, I think so too. Cool. Any other stories?
None.
None? Okay. Well, I've got one final story to take us away.
Feed us.
And you'll be happy to hear about it. Meta let Netflix read Facebook users' direct messages, court documents claim.
They just let them read it? Like, they just pulled them all up and said, hey, who you want to see?
Lawsuit filed in April 2023 alleges that Meta gave Netflix access to Facebook users' personal data for nearly a decade, which violated privacy rules. Yeah, so basically, according to the plaintiffs, Netflix and Facebook enjoyed a special relationship that allowed the streaming, spicy, huh? The streaming giant to better tailor ads with the latter's bespoke access to its user data. So it says that Facebook's parent company gave Netflix access to its users' personal data for nearly a decade. It further adds that Facebook received millions in ad revenues from the streaming giant as part of their close ties, per Fox Business.
Well, that's interesting. They got a cut of Netflix ad revenue?
Well, it sounds like Netflix was paying more in ads in exchange for Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, you scratch
they had
my
one
back,
of those
I'll scratch
deals.
yours. We'll pay for more advertising on your site if you're willing to give us a little data about what people are saying.
Now, look, I'm not too familiar with the Facebook terms and conditions. I just hit accept and I move on like a normal, rational human being.
Yeah.
But
well, it sounds like from what these plaintiffs are saying, this did break those privacy policies.
It sounds like they broke those policies, and I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, this is gonna sound kind of bad because I know that we're in like kind of this privacy crisis right now where to not care is kind of what they want. Right? Like they kind of want you to not like really like, oh, whatever, who cares? I can see my messages, I have nothing to hide thing. And sadly, part of me agrees with you. Like where I'm just like, if Netflix has my Facebook like messaging data, I'm not super miffed about it. I mean, they're going to advertise more to me, I guess. But
there's worse people they can send my data to that I have an issue with. But if it's just Netflix, I mean.
But conversely, I mean, this is still them like obviously breaking their own terms of service. So if they're willing to break that, then what else are they willing to?
I mean, true. Because like they, today it's Netflix, tomorrow the LAPD,
Right.
And that's a line, all right? Facebook, don't do that. Yeah, so, you're not. Don't drop a dime on me.
Didn't they? I mean, the Cambridge Analytica thing, but that was like 20. When was Cambridge Analytica?
That was the election, Trump Biden, right?
2016 was that when Cambridge Analytica? It feels like it's been a while.
Sounds about right.
I mean, because according to this has been happening for 10 years, so this would predate maybe even that.
It's Facebook was just on it. Facebook
they'll just sell anything.
But I mean, now look, it's a free service.
Therefore, we're the product.
We are the product. They don't ask us for anything, but we provide Facebook a certain amount of information and data. And we just freely serve it up through pictures, posts, messages.
You're not saying anything new here. I mean, that's how it goes.
We pay Facebook by giving them all these things, but Facebook can't make money unless they find a way to use all the information we're giving them for something. Well, illegally sell it.
Break their own terms of service and sell it.
I really wonder because it's weird to me. Facebook wrote their own terms and service and then broke it. Why do I feel like there's a loophole in their own that they built in something that allows them to sell it? Because it'll be weird. They got to write the rules and they ended up breaking them. Why didn't you just not write that?
Well, I mean, they probably had. Listen, it's tough in this world of the internet. If there's one thing that I have realized nowadays, it's that. While, I mean, I do value privacy, I think there's just a trade-off of privacy and convenience. Huh?
I'm sorry. I just thought I had a bad joke.
I mean, yeah, you have the stage.
Oh, a lot of people love sending like DMs and stuff on Facebook. Can you imagine if you are running around sending like dick pics and then Netflix sends you ads for like extra small condoms?
Yikes. I mean, I guess it would probably send you ads about like shows that maybe tell you how to get like a girlfriend or something. I don't know.
Enlargement pills. Netflix is like, you need these.
Well, Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think the privacy thing is kind of complicated. Like you kind of have to exchange privacy for convenience. I think when you use a lot of services, the internet just in general, like you're kind of trading some privacy for some convenience, but then also like I like using Google Maps, but that also means I'm relinquishing some privacy when I use Google Maps.
Google knows where you are.
Like I like using Google News to find stories for the podcast, but that also means like I'm kind of trading an algorithm. So, like in that way, I don't want
to. Look, I'll say this: a smart person doesn't use Facebook. Facebook is proven to not act within your best interest as far as like collecting your data.
Yeah, pretty consistently.
Like they're on that's on record. A smart person does not use Facebook, but some of us are old enough where we kind of got into Facebook before we understood any of this.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a sunk cost at this point. I mean, Facebook's got me on record since
2009 maybe.
2009 somewhere.
Yeah, same.
Like that's a lot. They got a lot of data off me, and I don't use it as much as I used to, but I'm at the point where I'm like, Facebook on Facebook, man. Like they that's what they gonna do.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, it sounds like they might have sold some of your messages and data to Netflix. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. We'll see what happens in like 5 years when this
like entire the real thing that worries me less so my messages. If they like sold off my like cringy Facebook post from when I was in high school.
I mean, they probably sold that off for sure. Half that's public. Well, anyways, I guess that's it for the stories.
High school me shouldn't have had a Facebook.
I don't think any of us should have, to be completely honest. Yeah, well, that's it for the stories. I think that we can now reach in the pod and answer some questions. However, there's a bit of a change today because we ran out of sticky notes to put on cards for the pod agreed. Yep. So we're going to instead just answer your questions straight from Google Forms.
Yep, straight from the form's mouth?
Yeah, straight from the horse's trough.
The horse's trough.
So, this first question comes to us from, well, I guess I don't really actually have a name on this one, but it just says, would Alec quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Forever if Konami started using AI to make cards?
Yeah, we'll never touch this game again.
Well, no, here's the thing, though. Would you know?
I mean, right now I would know, but if they did it in such a way where I wouldn't know, then I wouldn't know to quit.
Yeah. Do you think you could? Are you that sort of person where like you think you could like point it out if it happened? Like I think that was like AI generated.
No. Well, I mean, right now, maybe.
Wait, what do you mean maybe?
Like right now, AI isn't so great. At least the generative AI that people that commonly use right now, it's not so great. Where it's like a dummy like me can't notice 6 fingers on a card or just like weird aberrations and like. Right now, a lot of like basic like AI art, it's noticeable. Yeah. I can see the difference. However, in the future, because one, my eye is not that keen. Paul knows. In the future, as like AI art gets better at replicating like human work, there probably will come a time where I can't tell the difference anymore.
You know what's kind of more interesting is the thought that maybe they should use AI to design the cards, like effects. Have you seen? There's like a Twitter account that does.
I've seen
AI generated Yu-Gi-Oh! Effects are just crazy and wild.
Maybe one day there will be a smart enough AI that can make Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, and as long as I don't know about it, then they can get away with it.
Yeah.
But the moment I know, I'm out.
I hope that Konami would not do that, but like I think it's always wrong to put your faith in like a corporation.
Never trust corporations.
To not like kind of descend. So hopefully they don't. But if they do, well, if I know that they're doing it, I'm probably out. Like I just don't think that there'd be no more soul.
Which I guess you could already argue there's not like a whole. The thing is, there are people. I know for a fact human beings work on this game.
Yeah.
Their blood, sweat, and tears go into these cards.
Right.
And sometimes into the printing machines, but that's not all the time anymore. Only sometimes.
I'm not gonna pull that from a pack. What was that white dust that we found in that one?
But
Amazing Memories pack or whatever it was.
Like, while I do love card games, I don't love them so much where I would humor them if they were made by like a program.
A procedurally generated card just seems like there's just no soul in that at all. So. Yeah, so that's mine. Do you have the questions pulled up?
No, my tablet, while not dead, is dying and the screen keeps shutting off.
Okay, well that's all right. I'll just I'll present the rest. It's late, guys. Okay, so do you find deck building to be easier or harder in the new age of Yu-Gi-Oh compared to the old school Yu-Gi-Oh? So there's one of those vague questions where we're going to have to kind of define what new and old is ourselves.
It is, and it's open-ended, but I do have an answer.
Okay.
I think deck building today is actually easier than it was back in yesteryear. And here's my reason.
Okay.
Archetypes. Yeah. Archetypes are so insular. Well, some archetypes are so insular nowadays that if your goal is to make a 40 card deck, once you grab all the cards of the archetype's name and like the relevant cards they can like search and interact with, you have 90% of your deck right there.
Right. I agree. I think that like deck building these days is pretty easy. I mean, outside of just the fact that there are archetypes, which is true, helps a lot. There's also just more resources. Mm-hmm. Like literally, I mean, now you can just look up like deck lists on the internet, YouTube. I mean, now there's like those pages like the Yu-Gi-Oh! News, TCG, and like ready for
deck lists are everywhere.
Like deck lists are everywhere. It's screenshots, share.
Now we're not saying Yu-Gi-Oh's not easier to play.
Yeah,
but I do think it's easier to deck build.
Yeah, it's certainly more demanding to like play, but I think that building a deck is just building it is easy.
And I guess to be clear, for competition, it's not that simple either.
Yeah, like I don't want to like dumb it down to like all these idiots just all play the same easy deck. No, it's not what I mean. It's just like,
it's not like that either.
But like literally to get into the game and just play, like just make a backbone deck or whatever, just throw it together, Master Duel or whatever. Mm-hmm. I would say that process seems.
You can get to a functional deck way easier than when we were kids. Remember, like everybody's first deck was like a hodgepodge of monsters of the same type.
Yeah.
Barely a strategy to like if there was one.
Yeah. What was the first high rarity card that you guys pulled out of a pack that holds a lot of meaning to you? This one actually is signed from Tyrek.
Oh, we got another signature. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, Tyrek.
It's not just Basic Nerd.
Oh, my first high rarity
The next
card?
question will certainly be. Thanks, Basic Nerd.
So I'm fairly certain my first high rarity card was some like garbage pull that I didn't want and didn't need, and so
you don't remember the actual first, most likely.
No, I don't.
But what was the one that mattered to you? I know what mine is.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, well, so I actually Crush Card Virus was this really rare Shonen Jump prize card. You can only get it from like the 2008 Shonen Jump Championship. Blah blah blah. Kaiba used it. And so it was like $1,000 or something. And if you were playing like the Teledad deck or, kind of Dark Armed Return and stuff at the time, the Crush card was obviously very good. And the average person could not have it. Well, also in 2008, I was like 13 or something. So there was no chance I would ever buy it even if I wanted to. Well, anyways, when they first released the Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Gold series, they reprinted Crush Card Virus in it. And so it was really cool. And I didn't know at the time that like Crush Card was even in it. I read it in a magazine at Books A Million about like, they're reprinting Crush Card in this new, I think it was Beckett magazine, might have been one of the last few years that was around. But, they're reprinting Crush Card Virus in this set. And right after reading that magazine, that day at Books A Million, that weekend that my mom had taken me there, because she took me to Books A Million a lot on the weekends. I like to buy books and buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I actually bought a gold pack at Books A Million that day, one pack, and I pulled the Crush Card Virus. Absolutely incredible day. I was ecstatic as a kid. I had to learn how to make an eBay account to try to sell it because I did end up eventually selling it. I got like $250 or something.
Oh, back then that's like $2,000.
As a kid, I was rich. I was in like the 7th grade.
Boy was balling.
Guess what I bought with the money? Actually,
Shock Tarts.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe a few. No. I got. I think my first camera with that.
What? So Crush Card Virus made you the man you are today?
In a sense, yeah.
Wow.
I remember buying a camera and some other like weird kind of stuff from some tech store. I loved going to like Circuit City, if anyone remembers that.
Oh, Circuit City. Yeah, those are all gone now.
Tech stores, Radio Shack, I think that's closed too. But yeah, so that was like kind of the first card that I wouldn't say it holds meaning to me because I didn't really keep it, but it was just a really impactful story.
I mean, you had a whole story to go with it, so that's pretty good.
You got one?
No, I don't remember ever pulling like a rare or like memorable card. All my favorite cards I had to buy.
That's fair. I mean, I think that with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like not actually an uncommon experience, though.
Like, I mean, in the more modern era of the game, I've had some good pulls, but as far as a kid, no.
All right, well, our final question comes to us from our best friend, Basic Nerd.
Ooh, we getting really parasocial.
Actually, what is your favorite type of collectibles, not including cards? Your favorite type of collectibles, not including cards. You got to answer this one. You can answer the last one.
That's true. I just gotta like pick one favorite. That's hard.
My favorite type of collectibles for me would probably be prints. I like buying like art prints.
The artist prints, yeah.
The artist. Yeah. I collect him.
The artist formerly known as Prince.
No, but I like collecting like anime like art prints at conventions. I currently have like I want to say about 40, 50 prints that I have. A lot of them I don't even like I'll frame some of them. Some of them are like framed in this room. But generally, I just have a lot of them. My favorite characters from games, animes. Whenever an anime makes like an impact on me, I tend to like to try to find like a print of all the characters or one of my favorite characters or whatever. The tricky part is that like the sizings on them are sometimes different. Like some people use 11 by 17s. Sometimes they're like the 13 by 19 kind of bigger ones. And so like I don't know that I'll ever be able to even frame them all up because there's so many and like I don't know where I'd put them all. But yeah, I mean I've really gotten into those. I didn't realize I was into them until it was like too late. Like, I'd already had like 10 or 20. I was like, oh god, I guess I just gotta keep buying more prints at these conventions. So
this is the tough one for me because I collect a lot of things.
Oh, we know.
So you guys can't see it on camera, but I have a large Gunpla collection. That's the Gundam plastic model kits. They're sitting like right there. I have a lot of them.
He does have a lot.
Like, how many would you say that is, Paul? Like just eyeballing it.
I can guess. Like it's maybe like what's it like 10 on that row, 10 maybe the next. Let's say something like 30, 40.
Like 30 or 40 somewhere.
40, yeah. About as many. You probably have as many of those as I have prints.
There's at least 10 more sitting on my shelf in my room.
Yeah, you like your Gunpla.
But I also like collecting anime Blu-rays. When I got the PS5 with the disc drive, I had to find a reason to use the disc drive, so I started getting like Blu-rays for like different anime that I like. And that collection's been growing. And then the last thing I like to collect, which I don't know if this is really in an order, is indie comic books.
Yeah, I know you like your indie comics.
I haven't bought as many recently because I used to go to a lot of like comic conventions, and so I used to pick up a lot of indie comic books there. But since I've been mostly going to anime conventions, there's fewer, but not none. There's still comic books at anime conventions. It's not as many. But yeah, I have a pretty decent indie comic collection that's also that's hard to like find a place for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only other thing that I maybe sort of collect is like I collect some figures, but I don't really have that many. So
yeah, I mean, I was gonna mention figures. I don't really have that many. I have a few.
And I've made the mistake of getting big figures that like I really
got some giant ones.
Yeah, like those Egyptian gods. I'm just like, how the hell am I gonna like what am I? So
I guess I've started collecting acrylic stands for gacha game characters because I don't want to buy figures of them.
Yeah, I've started to have more of an appreciation for the people who just buy the little like keychains and trinkets and stuff because like it's smaller.
Yeah, smaller, easier to move around.
Easier to move around because like these freaking huge ass figures. It's like I mean I remember we used to be like an office and then we like moved like to kind of recording here and it's like I was like God this stuff is so huge and like just unwieldy to move.
Speaking of which, where are the gods?
They're in that closet over there.
See guys, we have to move the gods to the closet because they're just too big to put anywhere.
They're like inside their boxes. It's crazy. Well, anywho, that I think wraps up this pod of greed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We have to apologize for being a little bit low on the energy right now. It's past 2 a.m. So,
Is it? Oh, yep. 2 hours long. Yep.
Yeah, if you guys can believe it, I'm going to have to edit this podcast and you'll see it in like less than 7 hours from when I'm speaking these words. So, anywho.
Just use the AI.
Yeah, I wish. But AI could literally do the whole thing for me, then I'm a supporter of AI now. Save me some time. All right. Well, anyways, that's going to be it for the Pod of Greed. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We were, like I said, late this week. We'll be back on schedule next week on Thursdays. And also, one last reminder as well. If you're watching the premiere of this, I'm going to be doing the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Oh, yeah.
Challenger Cup tomorrow, or well, today, Friday, and also Saturday. So if you can believe it, I'm actually going to have to edit this podcast and then go to sleep and then wake up and stream that. It's going to be crazy.
What time's the Challenger Cup?
12 our time. And this podcast goes up at like 9 in our time. And right now it's like 2 a.m. in our time. So got my work cut out for me. Anyways, okay, that's going to be it, I suppose.
We'll see you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.